Hello, it's Sweet and Sour ASMR here. So this is gonna be very different than my usual video. I don't know why, but I felt inclined to make this video for no reason in particular. Maybe I'm doing it for myself, or maybe perhaps someone out there can relate to this. It's more so just me talking about my personal experience with my eczema. I again just wanted to talk about it, and this isn't gonna be scripted, so if I'm all over the place, that's probably why. So I'm sure that a lot of you have heard of eczema, but if you have not, it is basically a skin condition that causes the skin to become very itchy and dry. It's not fun, let me just tell you that right now. So you may be asking, like, what causes eczema? Well, typically it can be like certain irritants or allergens, like certain triggers that kind of basically it makes your body like overreact to these triggers, and basically when your immune system like kind of reacts to things, it's like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. I don't like this thing. It's like, when you have like, I guess, how am I gonna explain this? It's so hard to explain it. But like, when your immune system like triggers to like bacteria and stuff, usually when the immune system, gets activated by a trigger, it, gets inflamed. And basically with eczema, your skin becomes inflamed, and that then can cause like the itchiness, the dryness, and stuff like that. Again, if you want to know more, like, I guess the better way to explain eczema, you might want to look it up, but TLDR, basically your skin reacts to a certain trigger, whether it's like, the environment, it could be dry air, it could be certain like chemicals, fabrics, etc. So it literally could be anything. I mean, stress could be another reason too. Basically there's a trigger, and then your body basically just says, oh my gosh, we gotta like activate the inflammation defense mechanism, and then from there your skin gets inflamed and then dry and flaky and itchy, and it's just not a fun time. So there is many causes. To name a few, let's see here. Again, like I said, it could be like fabrics, it could be like the weather, if it's really dry. It could be like soaps and detergents. It could also be like stress. It could be like, skin care products or makeup. It could literally be like a lot of things. Again, you can probably look that up on your own time if you want to learn more about it. And it can happen in various parts of the body. For me, though, it typically affects like my fingers and hands, my arms, and at one point my sides, but we'll like get into that. So basically, I've had eczema for like a while. It's been years at this point. I want to say it started for me in my early adulthood. I don't know why I say adulthood weird, but like, my early adulthood is when I started noticing signs of it, which would make sense because I think, at the time I was in college and whatnot. It affected my fingers, but I went to a dermatologist and they gave me like a steroid cream, and basically that helped clear that up, and I didn't really have to deal with it too much. It kind of would come and go depending, but like, it wasn't anything bad. And then you skip years later, I moved and a lot of things were going on, and I feel like that really triggered my eczema. Like, my eczema went crazy. It could have been because stress. I was really stressed back then. A new environment, the weather was different and whatnot, and my eczema got really bad on my fingers. It went to like my forearms a little bit, like even my sides a little bit, but not too bad. And again, I would follow with my dermatologist and try different stronger steroid creams, and that kind of helped. And I tried other things, but as time went on, it felt like my eczema just got worse and worse and worse, and the creams weren't working. It kind of felt like the creams made it worse at different points, to be honest. This is kind of where it gets interesting for me, because I was doing everything as I was, told to do by my dermatologist in terms of the topical steroid creams I was using. But there would be points, because you can't put that stuff on every single day because it's not good for your skin. So when I had to take my days of break away from the topical cream, there were times where my skin reacted really badly to that. My skin got really flaky, drier than usual. My skin would start to peel. My skin was very red and inflamed and just very, very not okay. The itchiness was worse. My sides started getting affected, which again, every now and again I'd have a little bit, but this was way different. It was really bad. And the burning and the pain was just, because when you have eczema, your skin gets really dry and stuff. It's prone to cracking and stuff, and you want to itch it, but you can't. But sometimes you give in to the temptation, and it makes it worse when you itch, because then the cracks, your skin opens and it bleeds, and then you're in pain. But I guess it's hard to explain because it's such a I can't explain it, but it's hard to, I guess, relate unless you've been in that position. But for me, it got so bad that my fingers were always burning and hurting because my skin was so dry, and my fingers would crack open and bleed every now and again. My sides were so itchy that I just wanted to scratch at all times, and it was just unbearable. Just think of the fact that you do everything you're told. I use lotion and creams to keep my skin moisturized, but it would just get dry so fast that reapplying cream it helped, but it didn't really fix the problem. And the worst part with eczema, at least in my case, was just, besides the burning pain, was the itchiness, because it's just so itchy. It's you want to do something, but you know you shouldn't. But it starts kind of affecting different aspects of your life, because that's all you can think of at some point. That's how bad it got for me, where I'd be trying to do my job, and I just get some really bad moments where my sides were itchy, and I wanted to scratch them, but I told myself I shouldn't. Obviously, I applied moisturizer, and that kind of helped, but then it didn't get rid of the itchiness. I tried anti-itch cream as well, which helped a tiny bit, but not really. And so I have the constant thought in the back of my head of I'm itchy, and I'm trying to distract myself, not thinking that. But it's such a when you have a thought in your head that just won't go away no matter what you do, or no matter if you try to think about something else or focus about something else, it's still there talking to you. That thought is just there. That's how it was. But it wasn't just a thought, it was also a feeling. Nothing got rid of that itchy feeling on my sides, and it was driving me crazy. And also, again, the pain isn't fun either. The burning, stinging pain of my skin being open wasn't fun either. I literally had to wear band-aids on most of my fingers. There were times where I tried applying wet bandages around my hands so that it would keep them moisturized for longer, and so I wouldn't have access to scratching them off. I tried a lot of different things because at the time the dermatologist I had really wasn't helping me. And I feel any concerns I brought up weren't taken as seriously as I wanted to, so I kind of lost hope in seeking medical help. So I tried doing different avenues, looking at different things that different people did. I even tried changing my diet because some people say that helps. There's not a lot of research done on that, so yeah, I tried even holistic things too. I tried different, more natural creams. I tried different moisturizers as well. I tried so many different things, and some things kind of helped, some things didn't really make a difference. And I was kind of at my wit's end because I just felt so uncomfortable in my own body and my own skin. seeing how like dry and flaky and peeling and red my skin was at different points really affected my body image. So then it became more of a mental thing of I don't feel comfortable in my own body, I don't feel comfortable in my skin. My skin looks really gross and disgusting, it looks really bad. And also the feeling of just constant burning and itching. It started to affect me mentally. I was more down. I actually cried about it several times because I was just so uncomfortable and I could get no relief from it. Sometimes it was hard to sleep because of the itchiness. And you wouldn't think that like a simple thing like a skin condition could like start affecting different aspects of your life. And that's kind of like what happened with me. I hated like washing my hands and like cleaning because I felt like when I would wash my hands a lot, my skin would dry out a lot more. And obviously I still like had to practice good, hand hygiene because, don't want to get an infection. But I would immediately like wash my hands and then apply moisturizer like I had to, otherwise my hands would get too dry. And I just started to really dig deeper into what was going on because it just felt like my flare-ups were so bad. And that's where I found out about something called topical steroid withdrawal, which is basically a reaction your skin can have after you basically either use topical steroid creams too much or you kind of stop after having used it for so long. So your body kind of withdraws from that and the flare-ups get even worse and your skin starts kind of reacting really negative. I never knew this was a thing. This is not something that was ever brought up to my attention by my doctor. So when I found that out and saw different people talking about it, it really was eye-opening. It really made me feel heard, like, oh my gosh, it's not just me. This is an actual thing that can happen. And it just like opened my mind. I was like, oh. And it also made me very like anti-topical steroid creams. I was like, I don't ever want to use these type of creams like ever again because I just feel like it made it so much worse. So I kept trying to, stay off of those creams and do other things that other people did. And again, it did help. But eventually, I basically made the decision to find a new dermatologist and see if something new could be tried. And I was very scared to do this because, like I said before, the dermatologist I had prior really didn't take my concerns seriously. So I was scared going to a different dermatologist and, having the same experience and feeling like an idiot or not getting the help that I needed. Thankfully, though, things were different. This dermatologist was really understanding that I didn't want to use the topical steroid cream anymore, and she recommended these other creams to try, and I was receptive to that because it wasn't, like the typical, like, steroid cream. So I was like, okay, this isn't a steroid, it's a different type of cream. So I was like, I'll try that. And she did say if that didn't work for me, that there was this injectable medication that I could do. I really wasn't keen on the idea of using an injectable like medication for this because that sounded scary. And I was, just scared of the idea of like, oh, I would have to like inject like a medication like, semi-frequently, and I'm like, I don't like needles and stuff. So I wasn't really like keen on that. I was like, we'll try this for now. And so I tried, these different creams, and it did help. I did feel like a little bit of a difference. My skin did kind of calm down a little bit versus the crazy flare-ups I was going through because of the withdrawal. But it didn't like get me to the point where I wanted to be, where I could just be fully relaxed and comfortable in my own skin. I still would have these like issues, the eczema flare-ups and, the itchiness and stuff. So when I had my follow-up appointment, doctor was basically like asking me how it was going, and I basically shared everything. And basically I, was offered the injectable medication. It's called Dupixent, and I was willing to try it because at that point I just wanted my life back. And I know it sounds crazy to think, like, oh my god, a skin condition can really cause so much turmoil. And yes, I'm sure anyone who's had terrible eczema can agree. But like, it gets like, so bad where you just don't feel comfortable in your own body, and you just feel like constant itchiness and pain and stuff. It's not fun. Because for me, my skin got so dry, like my sides. Sometimes when I would stretch, I would feel like my dry skin like pulling it. Like even simple movements like that like would hurt me, which is like, again, you wouldn't think that, but yeah, it's a real thing. Anyways, my doctor listened to me. She was so nice and basically took even more time to basically hear me out. Because I think my appointment was only scheduled for a certain amount of time, and we went over that time because I was just explaining everything and how worried I was and my feelings behind this. And she didn't rush me, she took like the time, and I was really happy. So then we had to fill out a lot of paperwork to get this medication approved and whatnot, because you had to show like proof that you needed it, that you basically tried all these other avenues and without results. And thankfully, I was approved for this medication. And later down the line, I had to come back to see a nurse so that they could teach me how to inject myself with the medication and do the loading dose, which was 2 injections. And I was terrified. Yes, I do work in the healthcare field, but I don't have any experience actually, injecting myself with like medication, right? Like, I've never had to do that. So I was like scared. I was like, is this gonna hurt? Like, how do I do this? Am I really gonna be able to do this? Because I think it's like every 2 weeks I have to, use this medication. It's like, am I really going to be able to do this? Like, I was so scared. And the nurse basically walked through everything with me and basically wanted me to inject myself with the 2 syringes, the 2 pens, I guess, more so, because it's like a pen. And I was trying to, I know how to, like, working in healthcare, like, I know how this stuff works. I know how to do it on another person. It's a whole different story when it's like myself. And so I did what I needed to do, and basically I was sitting there because I injected the stuff into like my stomach, because it has to be like subcutaneous tissue, aka like fat tissue and stuff. So I have, I like was pinching my belly, had already cleaned it with the alcohol pad, and I was just sitting there like contemplating, am I really going to like stab myself with this medication? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then I would like back out. I was like, I need more time. Like, I was just so hard. And the nurse was so nice. She was so nice and basically didn't rush me or anything. And she eventually asked me, hey, do you want me to do the first one and then you can do the second syringe? And I was like, yeah, actually I think that would help, because I would then know how it feels and what I'm supposed to do. And she was receptive. She put her gloves on and cleaned the area and then used the pen and injected it. And obviously, it's a needle, like, it stings a little bit, but it's not like the worst pain. It's not as bad as my mind was making it seem. I was like, oh, okay. And then, she handed me the second syringe and had me do it, and I was able to do it. I was like, oh, okay, it's not so bad and whatnot. And from there, it was good. And then I was expected to do this at home, and I would say very quickly I saw like results with Dupixent. My skin cleared out completely, and I mean completely. Like, I had no dryness, no redness, nothing. It was so weird to like, run my hand down my sides or like my fingers and not feel like dry flakiness or cracks in my skin. It was like life changing. I didn't believe it. Honestly, I didn't have any hopes that was really gonna work for me, because I was like, well, nothing's worked this far and I have really bad luck. But when it actually worked, I was so relieved. Unfortunately, it is a medication that you do have to be on forever, because there's yet not a full cure for eczema, unfortunately. So even to this day, I still use this medication. I haven't had any issues. Obviously, some other people may, because, every body works differently. What works for one person doesn't work for another, but for me it does. Every now and again I'll have really minor flare-ups, but like the flare-ups I have cannot compare at all to the flare-ups I used to have. It is like night and day. Like my flare-ups now are very like, oh, well, it's a little dry, and it's only like my fingers and maybe my forearms, like my sides are fine now, and it's like crazy. Like I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I'm very thankful that I found something that works for me. And I guess what I'm trying to say with this video is, again, I'm just trying to tell my story. Maybe someone can relate. But I guess if you want to take a moral out of it, is always, always, always advocate for yourself. It's good to do your own research as long as you use, trustworthy sites and whatnot. And if you feel like your provider, your doctor is not giving you the support that you feel like you need, if you feel like your voice isn't heard, I would definitely recommend like seeking a different doctor, getting a second opinion. That is your right, and I feel like everyone should be able to get the help that they need. And if they feel like they aren't, they need to look elsewhere. And hopefully, if this does happen to you, whether it's eczema or not, hopefully that you can remember like my words and try to like be like, okay, I'm going to advocate for myself, or I'm going to seek other options. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. And I'm very happy that I took the means to get where I am now, and I'm very happy. Also, just to bring awareness to like Dupixent too, for those who like don't know, I made a video a long time ago. I think it was an ASMR where like the nurse is teaching someone to inject themselves, like using their injectable like medication and stuff. The reason I made that video was because again, for people to learn, or if someone relates to it and like struggles with that, because like again, I struggled so much. It was so weird the first couple of times I had to do it at home. I'm used to it now. I've been doing it for a while now, so it's like whatever. I don't like it because I hate needles, but it's it's not like I'm sitting there contemplating. Like when I first had to do it a couple times at home, I would like have to like talk myself through it. I'd have to kind of like hype myself up, and I know that might sound ridiculous to some, but hey, everyone's different. That's just me. So that's why I made that video a long time ago, because I wanted to see if maybe that could help someone or help someone learn something new. So yeah. Anyways, I think I've yapped for way too long about this. Basically, that's my story. That's just, random stuff you can know. Whether you care or not, it could have been good yap material for you to kind of relax and wind down for the day. Just listening to me talk about something random. Or maybe you learn something new. Or maybe you relate. If you happen to relate to this in any way, I would love to, hear your story in the comments. You don't have to if you don't feel comfortable, but I would love to see if anyone actually relates to this, whether it's eczema or something else, or knows someone and whatnot. So yeah, anyways, I think that's it for the video. I mean, I've been yapping for like over 20 minutes. So yeah, maybe you learned something. Maybe this was a cool lesson. Maybe not. Maybe you haven't even gotten to this part. You never will, and you won't hear what I'm saying now. But this has been Sweet and Sour ASMR. Thank you so much for the support always, guys, and I will continue to do what I can with my videos. Till the next one. Adios. Bye-bye.